Bernat Pipsqueak yarn really makes this one come to life. It's incredibly soft and fluffy, making it as challenging to work with as it is perfect for this project. I don't want to scare you off, but I want to be really upfront with you. Novelty yarns like this one are a challenge to work with because you can't see the stitches. Fortunately, and I hope you're still with me, their worst quality is also what makes them completely manageable to work with. The fuzz will hide any mistake you make. Now with that little disclaimer out of the way, you'll also need a couple hook sizes for this one. A 5.5mm for the head and a 6.5mm for the blanket and the ears. We'll start off with the blanket to sort of ease you into this yarn and its fuzziness, so grab your 6.5mm hook and chain 35. Now with your fingers, do your best to feel for the second chain from the hook and make a half double crochet there. Then feel for the next chain and half double crochet again. The goal is to make one half double crochet in every chain for a total of 34 stitches, but realistically, the yarn makes it nearly impossible to see the chains and what we're doing, so just do the best you can. The most important thing is that you make 34 stitches and you try to place them in their own chain. But like I said before, this yarn's worst quality is also its best, and that it'll hide any mistakes you make really well, so don't sweat this too much. Alright, when you get that done, it'll look something like this. No distinguishable stitches, and that's okay. From here, chain 1, which we won't count as a stitch, turn your work, and feel for that first stitch. When you find it, make a half double crochet there. And keep going. We're keeping it super simple. Make a half double crochet in every stitch. Now if you're a little confused about the chain at the beginning of the row, that's not normal to pair with a half double crochet stitch. Normally you would do something like 2 chains. But I personally find that making a single chain and not counting it as a stitch leads to cleaner edges, fuzzy yarn or not. So remember, you're counting as you go, and when you get to the end of the row, you'll have 34 stitches. Then chain 1 and turn. Make a half double crochet in the first stitch, and then make a half double crochet in every stitch. So I said we're keeping it super simple, and that's pretty much necessary for a yarn like this. So the repeat for the blanket is just that. Make one half double crochet in every stitch. You're chaining one between and turning, and that's as complicated as it gets. And I know I said it once already, but I'm gonna say it again. It's a really good idea to count your stitches as you go. That way the edges won't increase or decrease, because it's really easy to add or drop stitches with this yarn. So you'll keep going until it's a perfect square. And you can always double check that by flipping one of the corners up like this. If it's even, you have a perfect square. Then fasten off, and we'll tackle the head next. So you'll need to grab that 5.5mm hook for this one, make a slip knot, and 2 chains. And in that second chain from the hook, make 6 single crochets. You will want to place a stitch marker of some sort in that first stitch, so it'll make the next round a lot easier. Especially with fuzzy yarn, it's pretty much required. You don't have to have a fancy stitch marker, but you can totally use something like a bobby pin or a scrap piece of yarn. When you have 6 single crochets, you won't join. You'll just remove the marker and make 2 single crochets. That kicks us off on the second round. And again, don't forget to add that marker to the first of those 2 stitches. and continue with a single crochet in each remaining stitch for a total of 12 stitches for this round. Alright, moving on to round number 3, remove the marker and make a single crochet there. Replace it and make 2 single crochets in the next stitch. Now from now on, I'm just going to call this an increase because it's a little easier and because it increases your stitch count by 1. And here's the repeat. 1 single crochet in the next stitch, followed by an increase in the next. Alternating increases like this will bring your stitch count to 18 by the end of the round. And now for a much needed break from increasing for round 4, you'll just make a single crochet in every stitch. Again, for a stitch count of 18. Now if you're new around here, the best way to follow along with my tutorials is to have the pattern in front of you too. You can view it completely free on my website, or if you prefer to have a copy in hand to print or save for later, you can pick up the PDF from my shop. I'll have a link to both options in the description below, so you can do what works best for you. So this is what it'll look like at the end of the 4th row, and let's go ahead and add the nose next. You'll just need a yard or 2 of another medium weight yarn. Here I'm using pink for the nose and black for the eyes. These are just some random yarns I have in my stash too. Anything you have should do just fine. And then thread the nose yarn on your yarn needle. I'm doubling it so it shows up a little better on this fuzzy yarn, and I think you'll probably find it best to do the same, unless you're using a thicker yarn. Find the center of the piece and run the needle from inside out. This will be the bottom point of the nose. Then run it up and slightly at an angle through the back. Go straight across from inside out. And back down through the point. I think this style of nose is really cute for a bunny. Just a little V like this, but you can fill it in if you want, if you like that look better. When you're done, trim the yarn and very, very loosely tie it on the back. If you tie it too tight, you'll scrunch everything up and the nose will look really weird. Now pick up the loop again and make a single crochet in the first 2 stitches. Don't forget the stitch marker. And then increase, or remember, 2 single crochets in the next stitch. And that's your repeat. 1 single crochet in the next 2, followed by an increase. This will bring your stitch count from 18 to 24. And for round 6, make a single crochet in the first 3 stitches this time. And increase. That's the repeat. 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches, followed by an increase. And at the end of this round, you should have 30 stitches total. And we're about halfway through, so hang with me here. At this point, it should look something like this, and it's smooth sailing from here. And by smooth sailing, I mean no more increasing. So for rounds 7 through 10, make a single crochet in every stitch. Remember, your stitch count will be 30 for each round. Alright, let's take another short break and add the eyes. So thread some more medium weight yarn on your needle and embroider just like you did for the nose. You'll have to eyeball the eye placement a bit. I usually just aim for slightly up and outward from the points of the nose. The good thing is it's pretty easy to pull all of this out if you put it in one place and you decide you think it looks funny. All you have to do is pull it all the way through and try again. And again, loosely tie them in the back and repeat for the other side. Alright, we're picking up on round 11 if you're following along with the written instructions. Go ahead and make a single crochet in the first 3 stitches, kind of like that last increase round we did, but this time we're decreasing instead. Insert the hook in the next stitch and pull up a loop. Insert it in the next stitch and pull up a loop again, and then yarn over and pull through all the loops on your hook. And repeat. 1 single crochet in the next 3, followed by a single crochet 2 together, which is the fancy name for that decrease we just did. When you make it to the end of the round, you should end with a decrease and have a total of 24 stitches. For round 12, you'll make a single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then decrease. And that's the repeat. You'll have 18 stitches at the end of this round. Moving right along, make a single crochet in the next stitch and decrease and repeat. This time your stitch count will be reduced to 12 stitches and just 1 more round for the head, single crochet 2 together the entire round for a new stitch count of 6. You'll have a little bit of an opening to squeeze some stuffing through, and I generally try not to overstuff because that'll cause the yarn to stretch and you might actually see the polyfill through the gaps, but you do want it firm enough that it maintains its shape. Now go ahead and fasten off, leaving a nice long tail. You'll use that to seam the little opening closed. And don't worry too much about technique here. The yarn is fuzzy enough that you won't be able to see your stitches. Oh my gosh, this face is so stinking cute. But it needs some ears. Don't worry, these will go really quick. Grab your 6.5mm hook again, make a slip knot, and 13 chains. Make a single crochet in the second chain from the hook, and in the next 3 stitches as well. I know it's really tough to see, just do the best you can. Then make a half double crochet in the next 4 chains. Then make a double crochet in the next 3 chains. So that'll get you to the last chain. And what we want to do here is make 7 double crochets all in that chain. Now that's going to cause you to wrap the work around as you go, which will set you up to work on the underside of the chain. Make a double crochet in the next 3 chains. I know, do the best you can. Then make a half double crochet in the next 4 chains. And single crochet in the last 4 chains. Now fasten off, leaving about a 6-inch tail, and weave in the other end, the one from the slip knot that is, and repeat for a second ear. Now the ears sort of curl a bit naturally on their own, which makes them even cuter on this little bunny. All that's left to do is sew them in place. I normally eyeball this too, holding them in place and fine-tuning where I want them to go before I actually start sewing. Want an ad-free experience? How about the ability to enjoy all B.Hooked content before anyone else? Members of my Patreon community not only get to watch all videos completely free of ads, but they also get the PDF for all new patterns. Choose the Insider Preview tier for these perks, or if you really love patterns, choose the Insider Plus tier to unlock an additional 76 classic B.Hooked PDFs, as well as the entire archive of patterns released in 2021. Join my Patreon community today for all of these perks, as well as customized pattern support if you need it. You can cancel at any time if your financial situation changes, or if you simply change your mind. Links in the description below. And then we just need to sew it on the blanket. If you have any ends on that, go ahead and tidy them up. Now the blanket looks the same on both sides, so weave them in how you like. By the way, if you completely dread this step, don't worry, you're not alone. I made a video just recently sharing my best tips for weaving in ends, and you might find that worthwhile to check out because when you have a system that works, it's less dreadful of a task, I think. I'll have it linked here on your screen or in the description below. Alright, grab a bit more yarn, about 12 inches or so will be good, and find the center of the blanket. You'll sew the head in place, making sure the face is pointing at a point like it is here. This will make it hang a lot better overall. So one thing I discovered through this process is you have to make several passes and not just in the exact center or where you have it positioned right now. When you kind of spread the stitches out, it'll give the head a little more stability and it won't bobble around so much. Thank you so much for watching and sticking with me here until the end. That support means the absolute world to me, but it also tells YouTube that this channel is worth sharing to others. So if you liked this video, please hit the like button. And if you still need a yarn fix, don't worry, I have you covered. Check out a couple of these videos next, and definitely watch the one about working with fuzzy yarns. There are lots of tips in there to make this project go even smoother, and even more people in the community have commented additional tips. Happy hooking, and I'll see you in the next one.